Somewhere in Virginia right now, there is a festival dedicated to defending the honor of a stew. Somewhere in Georgia, there is a 25-gallon iron pot sitting on a monument with a plaque that exists for one reason only: to prove Virginia wrong. Two states, two festivals, two historical societies, and one very old pot of meat and vegetables that neither side is willing to give up. The dish is called Brunswick Stew. And if that name sounds vaguely familiar but forgettable, that is because most people today have no idea it was once the center of a genuine, decades-long historical dispute, backed by government proclamations, dueling monuments, and at least one embarrassing piece of evidence that one side seems to have conveniently forgotten existed. So why would two states spend over a century fighting about the origin of a stew? And why does the answer involve squirrels? Start with what the dish actually is. Brunswick stew is a thick tomato-based stew, traditionally built around a small game meat and thickened with corn, lima beans, and whatever vegetables were on hand. It is, at its core, a hunter's stew. Not an invention designed in a kitchen with a plan, but a dish assembled from whatever was killed that day and whatever was growing nearby. That detail matters more than it seems, because it is the first clue that nobody actually invented this stew in any formal sense. It was reinvented independently by different people in different places using the same basic logic. Protein plus corn plus beans plus a pot equals dinner. Hunters' stews like this exist all over the world in different forms because the underlying problem they solve is universal. You cannot always predict how much meat you will bring home, or what kind, and a big simmering pot lets you stretch a small, unpredictable catch into a meal for far more people than the meat alone could ever feed. Add a starch, like corn, add whatever vegetables are in season, and a single squirrel or rabbit can become dinner for a dozen hungry hunters instead of one. That is not a gourmet innovation. That is math applied to hunger. The traditional protein was squirrel. Today that sounds almost like a punchline. Squirrel meat is not exactly a menu staple in most of the English-speaking world anymore. But for much of the 18th and 19th centuries in the American South, squirrel was abundant, easy to hunt, and free. It did not require raising, feeding, or owning livestock. If you had a gun, some patience, and a few hours, you had meat. For rural households, and especially for the enslaved cooks who did much of the actual cooking on southern plantations, squirrel stew was not exotic. It was practical. So here is the first discovery. Brunswick stew was not born from abundance. It was born from necessity. It is, essentially, a recipe for turning whatever small game you could catch into a filling, shareable meal for a group. That already tells you something about who was likely doing the inventing, and it was probably not wealthy landowners sitting around thinking up new recipes for fun. Which raises the second question. If the dish grew out of a shared, practical hunting camp tradition, how did it end up with an origin dispute at all? How do you patent a pot of squirrel and corn? The answer is that the two places claiming to have invented it both happen to be named Brunswick. Virginia has Brunswick County. Georgia has the city of Brunswick. Both were named generations apart after the same European royal house, the Duchy of Brunswick, which also supplied Britain's royal family for a time. Two unrelated places, thousands of miles apart within the American South, both carrying the same borrowed name. And once a dish called Brunswick stew started showing up in print, both places had an obvious, built-in claim to make. Virginia's version of the story centers on a specific person, Jimmy Matthews, an enslaved cook working for a Virginia state legislator named Dr. Creed Haskins. According to local tradition, Matthews prepared a squirrel stew for Haskins during a hunting expedition in Brunswick County in 1828. The story was passed down locally for over a century and a half until, in 1988, the Virginia General Assembly formally proclaimed Brunswick County the birthplace of Brunswick stew, giving the local legend the closest thing a folk story can get to an official government stamp of approval. Georgia's claim looks different, and in some ways, more literal. In the coastal city of Brunswick, Georgia, there is a 25-gallon cast-iron pot sitting on public display, with a plaque stating that it was used to cook the very first Brunswick stew on July 2, 1898. Notice the gap. Virginia's story claims an origin 70 years earlier than Georgia's. That is not a small discrepancy. That is most of a century. And this is where the deeper explanation gets interesting, because the historical paper trail does not actually favor either state's founding myth outright. The earliest known appearance of the phrase Brunswick Stew in print was not in Virginia or Georgia at all. It showed up in a South Carolina newspaper in 1845, a state that, notably, has never claimed to have invented the dish. 17 years after Virginia's supposed 1828 origin, but more than 50 years before Georgia's iron pot was allegedly first used. Then, in 1849, a Virginia newspaper, the Alexandria Gazette, printed a detailed description of a barbecue feast featuring, in its own words, a genuine dish composed of squirrels, chicken, a little bacon, and corn and tomatoes. The stew was prepared under the supervision of another enslaved cook, a man named Ben Moody, born in 1797, who spent most of his life enslaved in Virginia before living to see freedom. That 1849 account predates Georgia's claimed 1898 origin by almost half a century, and it lines up closely with Virginia's oral tradition about Jimmy Matthews just 2 decades earlier. So the timeline seems to tilt toward Virginia. But here is the detail that actually settles the argument, and it comes, ironically, from Georgia's own historical record. In 1871, a restaurant in Savannah, Georgia called Med Henderson's had a menu item on it. The dish was not called Brunswick Stew. It was called Virginia Brunswick Stew. Georgia's own restaurants, 27 years before that state's monument claims the dish was first cooked there, were serving the food and explicitly crediting it to Virginia. A Georgia menu, undermining Georgia's own monument, sitting quietly in the historical record the whole time. Even more strikingly, one of the people who has publicly leaned toward Virginia's version of events is historian John A. Burrison, who happens to be based at Georgia State University. A Georgia-affiliated historian, writing for the New Georgia Encyclopedia, effectively siding against his own state's iron pot. At this point, you might assume the mystery is solved. Virginia wins, case closed. Except the story escalates one more time, because both states' claims may actually be missing the real origin entirely. Food historians and anthropologists point out that the core idea behind Brunswick Stew, a hunter's stew of small game simmered with corn and beans, did not begin with either Haskins' hunting party or a Georgia restaurant. It likely traces back to indigenous peoples of the American Southeast. Southeastern tribes had long been preparing stews using squirrel, groundhog, venison, opossum, and even bear, simmered together with corn. Colonists in the region, including the enslaved cooks who ran plantation kitchens, adapted an already existing regional cooking method, rather than dreaming up something new from scratch. Which means the truest version of this story might be this. Nobody invented Brunswick Stew in the way a chef invents a signature dish. A cooking method that had existed in the region for generations got adopted, adapted, and eventually named, probably more than once, by more than one group of people, independently arriving at the same basic solution to the same basic problem. How do you turn hunted meat and a harvest of corn and beans into a meal that feeds a crowd? The invention that Virginia and Georgia have spent over a century fighting over may never have belonged to either of them individually. It belonged to a tradition older than the United States itself, one that got claimed, renamed, and monumentalized by 2 towns that happened to share a borrowed European name. And the fight never actually stopped. Both regions still host stew festivals to this day, Georgia's Brunswick Rockin' Stewbilee and Virginia's Taste of Brunswick Festival, effectively competing homages to the same disputed dish decades after the historical evidence had already quietly settled most of the argument. The stews served today rarely even use squirrel anymore. Chicken and pork have mostly replaced it, and the 2 regional versions have drifted apart in their own directions. Virginia's typically thicker with rabbit or chicken, Georgia's thinner and spicier with pork. There's also a quieter, less comfortable layer underneath all of this. The 2 men most consistently named in the actual historical record, Jimmy Matthews in Brunswick County and Ben Moody near Alexandria, were both enslaved cooks. Neither one filed a claim, built a monument, or lobbied a state legislature. The credit, when it eventually arrived generations later, filtered through the white landowners and local historians who wrote the story down. The rivalry over who invented it has mostly been fought by institutions, not by the people who were actually standing over the pot. Here is the modern mirror. You've probably eaten a version of this stew, or something like it, without ever knowing it came from a fight. Regional food rivalries are everywhere. Barbecue sauce styles, chili recipes, even pizza crusts get treated like territorial flags, each side insisting on an origin story that flatters their own state or city. Brunswick Stew is simply one of the oldest, best documented examples of how food becomes identity, and how identity gets defended long after the actual facts have moved on. A menu from 1871, an iron pot from 1898, a legislative proclamation from 1988. Each one a fresh layer added onto a story that was already over a century old by the time anyone thought to make it official. So the next time you hear two places arguing over who really invented something, especially something built from whatever ordinary people had on hand out of necessity, it's worth asking the same question this stew answers so clearly. Sometimes there isn't a single inventor to find. There's just a good idea that more than one hungry person arrived at on their own, long before anyone thought to put a name, a monument, or a plaque on it.